report on the computer. And then we're going to put speaker view and okay.
Okay, guys. Okay.
Say welcome to class first.
Welcome to class. We're going to start with some arm circles.
How do you do it? You have to tell them.
Well, you basically circle your arms around.
How big? Little or big ones?
Medium.
Medium. Medium arm circles. And what should your feet be doing?
Staying still.
And straight ahead, right? Look down at your feet. Make sure your base is straight ahead. And then do you need to go the other direction?
Yeah, and then other way.
Oh, those are bigger circles.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to do medium.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're up for your daddy. Hope that was a little bit of a shoulder warm-up. We are going to do a lot of shoulders today. I'm going to talk specifically about the position that your shoulders are the most open in, which is at this kind of 30-degree angle outward. So we're going to look specifically at when the shoulder gets to rotate and why having your elbows in this position, like in a push-up or something, is the most open position for the shoulder to be able to move, hopefully without grinding or pinching or anything like that, impingement or shear force, which can be damaging eventually to the cartilage in your shoulders. So take a moment to ground yourself however it feels appropriate for you, hand on your heart, hand on your belly, or again, bringing that right and left, the future and the past into the center to just be here in this moment, right here. Feel your body, feel your breathing, feel your feet. Know that once again, the support that you have to take care of your body by showing up to this practice, both by yourself, by me, and by all of your friends, makes this vibrate even bigger as we go through class today. Continue to focus on your breathing, taking that east-west breath so that the breath is moving in and out of your ribs and expanding in all directions, the full circumference out to the side, and even most of the breath that can move actually into the back side of your body. So take the breath into the back. And then check your feet again. Feet pointed straight ahead, right underneath your hip bones. That's the most stable position. And ideally, that is a closed kinetic chain position right now. So that position being straight with your feet on the ground means that the rotation has to occur somewhere else in the body. And hopefully that's not at the lower leg. It is in my body a little bit, but we want to continue to bring that around. Feet, knees, hips, all in good alignment for that stable base. Then take your breath, slide your shoulders up to your ears and push them down. Start with your shoulder shrugs 10 times. A little bit of a squeeze onto your back body, especially if you know that you're round. If you think that your upper back is a little bit too flat, then emphasize the pressing of your shoulder blades apart, or think collarbones wide. Then take it into a shoulder roll, up and forward and around, getting that retraction, shoulder blades coming together, elevation of the shoulder blade, protraction as the shoulder blades come apart, and take it around. Stronger arms, stronger elbows, 10 big circles forward. A little bit of activation in your butt so that there's a glute squeeze and a little stabilization in your belly. Backwards. Elevate, squeeze the shoulders onto your back, retract, down, protract, let them come apart, depress, and elevate again. All the way around, coordinating that big action. And then I'm gonna say grab one of your blocks or a couch pillow or something. We're gonna just support this space between the arm right now. So let's go into that most open position of the shoulder. And you can see why they put a pad here if you have a shoulder injury, why they put a pad there to hold that there. Again, it's the most open position for the shoulder joint. So 30 degrees abduction. And then with that block there, let your arm rotate backwards and then back in. So finding rotator cuff muscles on the backside of your shoulder, letting that arm bone pull back and then back in. Everything else square. If you don't have anything, fine to just let the arm hang, but see if you can abduct it, pull it away from your body just a little bit to get that rotation in the arm bone. We want to build good stability in the shoulder joint, a joint that has a lot of freedom, but with that freedom, we also lose stability versus your hips, which are pretty stable for most of us. And what we need to work on is increased flexibility or range of motion. Good, other side, putting that in there. Abducting away from the body slightly, and then externally rotating that arm, and back in. Out, and in. Now, if that shoulder elevates at all, then we start to recruit different things, or if the shoulder dives forward, we start to recruit other pieces. So really keep that collarbone wide, and I don't want the shoulder to be down, but I also don't want it to elevate. Much more likely here, especially if you put something in there, to have that shoulder want to lift. So keep that right in that neutral position so that just the arm bone gets to rotate. Good. Set the block down. Now both hands, that same distance away from your body, just a little bit, bring them together and then back. And I'm holding them just in that 30-degree abduction, not quite 45, just right in the middle. Out and in. And cross one over your belly and the other as you keep going. Switching. Excellent. Then bring your arms up. Take it into an arm glide all the way up. This time your shoulders do get to elevate. So the secondary muscles of the shoulder are like the deltoid. And they have to lift the acromion, the joint position here. It does have to elevate so that the shoulder blade can begin to rotate out as you bring your arm up. If you were to keep your shoulder down, then you start to create that impingement. It's one of the things I see in the gym, or when some trainers say keep your shoulder blades down and back as the arms are coming up, and we're causing that impingement in the shoulder. So once the arm gets here, the whole shoulder does need to begin to elevate as you bring your arm up. So think about that. Again, that lets the shoulder blade move out and have that outward rotation as you go up and then back down. Good. Shoulder blades moving toward the outside of your body or kind of into the armpit and down. And release. Good. Interlace your fingers behind your back. then roll the upper arm bone back. So the attachment of the pec on the arm bone is gonna pull the arm bone forward. And I want you to be able to have an anchor, so we're closing the kinetic chain, and then be able to open up the upper arm bone backward to pull on that pec. We'll do some more pec stretches today as well, but you can just begin to open that space, take some breaths, fill the space in the front of your chest. And release. We're going back to arm circles. Fold your fingers to your palm, arms out to the side. Find that balance. So now, because we're getting past this position, the shoulder needs to elevate a little bit. The shoulder blade needs to rotate out. There's freedom in the shoulder joint. Then soft knees, glutes active, belly 50%, 40 circles. Feel your feet on the ground. Stay connected. Does it feel even? Could you do something to make it a little more even? Even front to back, even from across the bridge of your toes back toward the heel. And backwards, palms up. Forward, good. One big circle, taking it up, keeping your belly stable so only the arm gets to move, chest stable. This goes up, then turn the pinky back like you're doing a backstroke, and then find as big a range as you can do without the chest rotating. Coming down, then up, turn the pinky back, turning that arm, reach, back around. 3 more. Up. Again, that shoulder blade has to move out to the side and elevate. Let the shoulder come up towards your ear. Then back and around. 2 more. If the arm has to come out to the side for your chest not to rotate, that's totally fine right here. When we notice that we have compensating actions, then just make the range of motion a little bit smaller until we can work into that bigger space. Second side, reach, let the shoulder blade move out to the side, then let the arm elevate, turn the hand so the whole arm bone rotates, and then bring it back and around. Good. Up, everything else still. I'm putting my hand on my belly just to monitor the position of my torso and minimizing any action that shouldn't be happening here. I think that's 5. One more time, shoulder rolls up and back and around just to reset that position. Maybe that upper back has gotten to change position a little bit. All 26 bones for most people in their spine. Excellent. Into your windmill, arms out to the side. So now your arms are stable. The shoulder blades do have to move side to side a little bit, but let the ribs open, let the spine laterally flex on a stable base. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Draw energy from that midline up the inside of the legs and the outside of the legs. Glutes slightly active. Inhale, come up. Over to the other side. And up. And over. Even up to your neck. Think of that Going over to the side so that this top side is pressing toward the ceiling. Inhale, lift. Exhale, over. And up and over. Take your feet wider. That's gonna abduct the legs. So moving them away from your body, that's gonna change a little bit about how level your pelvis stays. So if there's rotation in your hip, as we abduct, that rotation starts to come out, or if your hip is elevated, or even if you have a bit of a leg length discrepancy, that starts to even out the pelvis and then change how the imbalance might be working in the torso, quadratus lumborum, up the lumbar extensors. Just bringing symmetry, balance, ease into the body. Squeeze your feet towards each other, over to one side. Take a deep, full breath. Exhale fully. Inhale, come up, over. Big inhale. Exhale fully. Inhale up. Again, keep moving. And then we'll come back in. Same thing, legs right underneath you, over and up. Feel free to stay over on one side, take a deep breath. Exhale completely, other side. Just notice in your body, do you have a side that feels easy to go to and one that feels more challenging, tighter, more restrictive, or maybe that you want to rotate on? Okay, now go to your feet. See if I can move the camera just a bit. Up onto your toes. 10 times. So we're going to work this close kinetic chain, femur position, feet into knees into hips, just by going up on your toes. Find it, hold it, and then come back down. Now go up onto your toes, hold that, come down into a bit of a squat, woo. Turn your leg muscles on. This part of your body does not get to move, so there's no flexion or extension happening in your back right now. Keep your spine in neutral, up on your toes, down, and again, you decide the range of motion, then let your heels come down. Up on your toes, down into your little squat, up all the way back, then back down. Let's do 10 of these. That was 2 or 3. Your ability to stabilize at your trunk while your legs are doing this action will help align the whole entire leg and create the stability that we want when you're walking or moving in your torso. So there's not accessory rotation or extra things happening there. One more, up on your toes, little squat down. If you need to hold on to a chair or something because your balance is being challenged here, by all means, the wall or a chair, hold on to it so that you can keep the rest of your body stable. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing, turn your toes out. This is definitely a bit of Egoscue, 3-position toe raises, meshed with a Pilates move that we would often do on the reformer. You're just getting more challenged because we can't lay down on a reformer right now. So toes out to the side, up on your toes, same thing, torso stable, little bit of a squat, back up, then lower back down. Lift, lower, lift, and down. No movement once you set the position of your pelvis happening anywhere else. That little bit of an arch that's in your back, it stays. One more. Okay, this is gonna be really tough. Pigeon toe your feet. Definitely, again, use a balance chair or something if you need it. Up on your toes. Then knees can come in a bit, down, and stabilize everywhere else. Woo. How many people notice that they like go off to one side a little bit? One side is more challenging to stay loaded. Excellent, back to straight. Let's just do 5 more in that straight position. Up, ankle stability, core stability, little squat. We'll reset that neutral. Excellent. And then just 10 calf raises. Nice. Okay. Now we're going to start to go into a split leg position and to do some work here. So just come down, one leg forward and one leg back. So because this is split, do your best to get your hips even. They may not sit exactly straight across, but do it. This leg going down, that quad is in an open position or lengthened position because the bottom knee is bent. So muscles that cross both the hip and the knee have to be in a stretch. And if you have tight hip flexors or tight quads, or you've been sitting so much and you've spent a lot of time working at the computer lately, just hanging out here actually creates a new message for the length of that muscle. So come into that position, and I'm gonna have you do elbow curls here. So just hold that position, keep working your tailbone down toward the floor a little bit so that your pelvis is in neutral. And just hold it, find your balance, and then elbow curl. Let's do 10 elbow curls here. Good. Then take your elbows high to the sky. You could do these with weights, but this position, this is going to want to happen, the extension in your back as your arms go up. Keep that stable, elbows to the ceiling, and just tricep press, arms all the way up. This position, the shoulder blades had to move out to the side and elevate towards your ears. So hold them up there, get as tall as possible, stabilize with your abdominals, then bend the elbows, take it straight up. 10 times. Good. And then one arm forward, one arm back. So we're going to use a rotational force. You may have felt your body just try to twist. Hold it stable. So this works a muscle called the multifidus. in the back that is a rotary muscle. It's a rotator, but it's also a stabilizer. And if you use enough abdominals and make both sides of that muscle work, then you don't actually have to rotate, but it turns that muscle on. Still working the shoulders. You may need to hold your arms slightly out to the side so we have that open position in the shoulder. One arm forward, one arm back. Still just working the length of that quad, length of the psoas. Excellent. Come back to standing. Back leg still behind you. We're going to work hip flexion. Everything's stable. Then let's just go both arms forward. Hips flex up. Stable everywhere else. Set that leg back behind you into that lunge. Forward, balance, hip flex, back, stabilize. So now we want to find this rear compartment. This is basically a front leg kind of lunge or balance, but we're working on this hip flexion. Then we're going to change it. So you could think of this as a single leg squat, kind of, which is a great exercise, but it makes your body be able to come forward, and that doesn't help our hip extension very much, which is what we just started to work on, these muscles on the backside that help take the leg behind you. So now I want you to stand on that back leg, and I want you to take that step forward, but paying attention to the position of your torso as you take it down into a mild squat or lunge with that back leg back, and then press back up. Good. Now we're working the extensors on that back leg, upper body upright, a little bit of a lunge down, press back. One more. And switch your leg position. Coming down into that kneeling position. Square your hips the best you can. One hip forward, one hip back. As even as possible, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then just notice when you're here, how is the length of this side of the hip flexor or quad? Bring your hands into that elbow curl position. Folded fingers to palms, thumbs down toward your shoulders, elbows all the way together so they touch, and all the way back. All the way together, and all the way back. Then elbows up to the sky. Lift, stable at the front ribs, stable belly. Try to open up those arms. And notice your head position. Reach. Again, the shoulder blades had to slide away from the spine at the bottom and have that slightward up rotation and elevate as you bring your arms up toward your shoulder so there's freedom and no impingement in the shoulder space right there. Good. One arm forward, one arm back, triggering that rotational force with stability. And switch them. Breathe. Nothing but the arms get to move. And then come up. Take it into that hip flexion, finding your balance, lifting the leg, stable pelvis, take it back. Again, this becomes a little bit of a single leg squat on this front leg. Lift and lower. Last one. And then you're going to step back onto that leg and lift the front leg up, keeping your body upright as the leg gets behind you. So we're working that hip gets to be behind you. And then push back up onto it. And then forward, hip extension, hip, knee behind the hip. Upper body stable. Lift. Forward. Lift. And release. Come down onto your back. Actually, come down to sitting. Sit tall and into femur rotations. Kicking the legs out, letting the leg rotate. So now we're in an open kinetic chain where we did the rotations before closed because you were standing on your feet, so that drove the rotation up into the hip. Now we're going to use the hip to let it rotate all the way down in that open kinetic chain. Shoulders in a good position, strong through your back, all the way together, all the way back, 10 rotations. Wider, out and in. And wider once more, out and in. And then fold your legs, one in, one out, and come down to the end of your mat so that you can use the length of your mat that way to both open the side body and to turn into a twist. So we'll do both here. Okay, so one leg in, one leg out. So my front right leg is just parallel in front of me and then folded left leg back behind me. Then I'm going to slide out on my mat and just open up the side body coming down to my elbow, taking a deep breath in, pushing my ribs to the sky, and then coming back up. Good, let's do 5 of these. Out, over, inhale up, using the muscles in my trunk to pull me back to seated. Excellent. Now turn your body so that both hands can come to your mat. So that should be a lot of work in your belly. Your obliques are having to twist you, and that multifidus in the back, that rotational muscle in the back, that muscle is one muscle. When we do studies on people with back pain, we tend to have an atrophied multifidi. And so we want to make sure that that muscle is in the right position and stays strong, so that action keeps your back healthy. Turn, and then just stretch it out on your mat, and then use the muscles in your trunk to pull you back up. Big inhale, exhale, reach, inhale, lift. And then switch your legs and switch ends of your mat. Start opening up, coming down to the elbow, reach the rib cage to the ceiling. Big opener, full breath. Exhale, inhale, lift back up. Exhale, reach. Inhale, lift. And then turn your body. Feel how this side rotates in relationship to the other side. Might be different. We tend to have one side we turn to well and one side that's a little more challenging. Walk it out. And come back up. Coordinate your action with your breath. Exhale forward. Inhale, lift. And then onto your hands and knees. Cats and dogs. However you like to do these today, that single vertebrae moving, going up the spine and coming down segmentally, or letting the whole thing move. You choose, do about 10 of them. And then come down onto your side. Stretch the bottom leg out straight and just let the top leg hover over your other leg. Have enough stability in your belly that nothing else gets to move again. We're gonna practice hip flexion once more. This sideline position creates a different way to stabilize. So put your hand on your back, because that's where you're gonna feel it. I don't want your back to move. Once you set your back in neutral, I want that to be completely stable. And then I want you to bring the leg up as high as you can without the back moving. As soon as you start to feel your back flatten, I want you to stop. And then I want you to push that leg back out. So all of that stability has to happen in the medial glute. Medial glute is an internal rotator and abductor, and it's a stabilizer when you're standing on one leg. So we're kind of mimicking that right now by just pulling the leg in, stabilize at your trunk, and push it out. In. Let's do 10 of these. And out. Moving slowly so that you notice when you're back. So if I get up here and I start to let my thigh hit the top of the pelvis, it's gonna force my tailbone to tuck under. But I wanna do my best to keep as much stability in my pelvis and in my back so that I can just work on hip flexion. And again, it can be a pretty small range of motion. It's also working knee stability, abductor engagement, and a little bit of adductor, just because it's having to help stabilize that knee. You should start to feel that outer hip a little bit. Awesome, now point your toes. Let's go into circles. Again, no movement in the trunk. It's just being stable. Move that leg around. Try to go behind you, find the hamstring and the glute. Little circles. We can also use these to just lubricate the hip joints a little bit. And reverse your circle. And then hamstring curl. So again, hovering that top leg, you can press the bottom leg into the floor so that they're acting like magnets that push away from each other. And then curl that leg behind you, push the knee back. No extension in the back, just extension in the hip. So do your best to get the length in that quad, activate the hamstring, and then stretch the leg back to straight and curl it back behind you. 10 times. And switch. Come to that sideline position, both legs straight, pressing that bottom leg into the floor, helping to create the stability that you need in your trunk, even this underside of your waistline, lifting a little bit so the pelvis stays as stable as possible. And then hand on your back if you don't need it to balance. Pull that leg up, hip flex, and go straight. No extra movement in the trunk. One more, or two, I can't remember. I think that's about 10. Point your toes, little circles, nothing else gets to move, total stability. And reverse. And hamstring curl. Squeeze and release, pushing that knee and hip behind you. Knee especially behind the hip, and then curl it up. Excellent. Onto your back. Put the bottom of your feet together, let your knees drop out into a frog. Do a little bit of a crunch and move your whole spine longer on your mat so that your pelvis is in neutral. There's a space between your lower back and the floor. Rib cage stable, arms reaching up. Pull over your head to the floor. Shoulders, they get to do that outward rotation toward the armpit and slide up toward your ears so that the shoulder blade is coordinated with the arm bone and there's freedom and space in the outer part of the shoulder. No impingement. Couple more. Out. Reach. And back up. And then bring those legs in. And we're going to go into extension once more. Loaded extension, closed kinetic chain, one leg up to the air. Lift your hips off the floor, pressing through the glute, through the hamstring, lower back down. Just skim the floor and lift back up. No rest. Keep everything engaged. 10 lifts. Switch sides. 10 more. Bottom of your feet together again, knees out into a frog. Lift your hips off the floor, up and down, 10 more. Really get those glutes to activate. And bring them in. Roll onto your belly. Push up into a push-up position on your elbows or on your hands. You choose today. Now that we've got your pelvis to do all of those actions, hold stability in the abductor, flex the hip, extend the hip, stabilize at the pelvis, stabilize at the spine. Let's keep it all together. Pressing through your heels, feel your quads, feel the glutes, feel your belly. Press through your shoulders, almost like you're making your shoulders wider apart at the spine, farther away from the spine, keeping your head and neck in the right position. 10 more seconds. And release. Cats and dogs once more. And then find your spot, coming down onto your back, into static back with your legs over a chair or all the way down flat on the floor. And just let your body be completely supported by the floor. I heard a song that said, "Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well." And I liked it. So that's what we're going to use today. You can use that kind of as a mantra in your Shavasana. Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. Again, bring the energy of your practice, your commitment to your own health, the commitment that I have to continue to learn and bring you new things so that it stays interesting and your body has new stimulus and it continues to also have renewal and health and balance. And all of our friends that show up to support our health so that every little cell in your body is healthy. Every little cell in your body is well. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to just go into the silence. You can hold that mantra to keep your mind just having something to go on. If not, just allow the thoughts to float away. Don't give them attention. Continue to focus on your breath. Fully in, fully out. Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. You are always invited to continue to just turn off your computer and stay in this place, or begin to surface and say goodbye.